The Centipede Bride. Chapter 1. The Mountain Road at Dusk. The year was deep in the Joseon Dynasty, when tigers still walked the mountain passes, and men did not travel alone after dark. A young scholar named Yoon Seok-jin was making his way home through the Jineui mountain range. He had stayed too long at a friend's village, and now the sun bled red against the ridgeline. Mist crept up from the valleys like breath from an open grave. Seok-jin was not a fearful man. He had read every book in his father's study. He believed in Confucian order, in the proper arrangement of heaven and earth. Monsters were for children and old women. He pulled his robe tight and walked faster. Then he heard it, a scream. Not a bird, not the wind. A woman high and sharp and cut off too quickly. He ran toward the sound, crashing through bamboo thickets until he burst into a small clearing. There, coiled around the base of an ancient pine tree, was an enormous snake. Its scales the color of old rust, its body as thick as a man's thigh, and in its grip, barely conscious, was a young woman in a white dress. Seok-jin did not think. He grabbed a fallen branch and beat the snake until it released her and slithered away into the dark. The woman crumpled to the ground. He knelt beside her. Even in the fading light, she was extraordinarily beautiful. Porcelain skin, ink-black hair spread across the pine needles, lips the color of persimmon, but her hands were cold. Far too cold for a summer evening. She opened her eyes. They were very dark, very still. "You saved me," she whispered. "Can you walk?" he asked. She smiled. It was a strange smile, slow, like something waking up after a very long sleep. "If you help me," she said, "I can." Chapter 2. The Woman with No Village. Her name, she said, was Jineui, Heavenly Woman. She had been traveling to her aunt's home in the next valley when the snake attacked. Her traveling companions had scattered in fear. Seok-jin believed her. Why would he not? He helped her to the nearest inn at the foot of the mountain. The innkeeper, a stout woman with sharp eyes, looked at Jineui for a long moment before looking away. She said nothing. But that night, she burned a small bundle of dried herbs by the door. Seok-jin noticed none of this. Over the following days, he tried to help Jineui find her family. There was no aunt. There was no village. There was no record of her family name in any registry. But every time he raised these concerns, she would tilt her head slightly and smile that slow smile. And somehow the concern would drain out of him like water from a cracked bowl. She was always nearby, always watching, always cold to the touch, even in the heat of noon. His friends warned him. His mother sent a letter filled with worry. An old monk at the roadside temple looked at Seok-jin and said only, "Some creatures wear a human face, the way a man wears a mask at a festival. Convenient. Temporary." Seok-jin dismissed it as superstition. By the time autumn came, he had asked her to be his wife. Chapter 3. The Wedding Night. The wedding was held at his family home, in a small mountain village. It was a proper ceremony. The exchange of cups, the formal bows, the guests in fine silk. Jineui was radiant. Every man present stared. Every woman present felt uneasy, though none could say exactly why. That night, after the guests had gone and the lanterns burned low, Seok-jin and his bride were alone in the wedding chamber. She had dimmed the oil lamp herself, claiming her eyes were sensitive to light. The room was nearly dark. She moved to the sleeping mat, and her silhouette was wrong somehow. The shadows clung to her, differently than they should. But Seok-jin was tired. He lay down beside her. "Are you happy?" he asked. "I have been waiting a very long time to be in a home like this," she replied. Her voice was strange, deeper than usual, resonant, like it was coming from somewhere farther away than the body beside him. He closed his eyes. He intended only to rest for a moment, but just before sleep took him completely, some instinct, old, animal, wordless, dragged him back. He kept his breathing slow and even. He did not move. He lay perfectly still, and he listened. Chapter 4. what he saw. For a long time, there was only silence, then a sound. Not a human sound, a clicking. A dry, rhythmic clicking, like fingernails dragged across lacquered wood, but faster than fingers could move. Seok-jin did not open his eyes. Every instinct screamed at him to remain still. The sound moved closer. He felt the sleeping mat shift. He felt the air beside his face grow cold. Colder than any autumn night should be. He felt something approach his neck with terrible patience. Then his hand, trembling, found the oil lamp beside the mat. He knocked it upright. The wick caught the draft. A pale orange light flooded the room. He opened his eyes. What he saw would strip the rest of the color from his hair before morning. Chonyo, his wife, was crouched over him, but she was no longer entirely the woman he had married. Her hair had spread across the ceiling in black tendrils. A white dress split at the back, and from beneath, it emerged the first of many, legs curved, jointed, glistening like wet obsidian, unfolding one by one in the guttering lamplight, dozens of them. Her face was still hers. That was the worst part. The beautiful face, the dark eyes, the slow smile still hers. But her body had become something ancient and enormous and very, very hungry. A centipede, a Jineui, a creature from the oldest stories, the ones told only in whispers, and it was looking at him with the eyes of his wife. "You were not supposed to wake," she said. Her voice had fully changed now, a sound like dried leaves, like something chittering inside a hollow log. I was going to be gentle. Chapter 5. The Flight. Seok-jin ran. He did not remember picking up the lamp. He did not remember screaming. He only remembered the door, the cold night air, the gravel path beneath his bare feet, and behind him, the sound of many legs on wood, moving faster than anything had a right to move. He ran for the village. He pounded on doors. Most stayed shut. People had heard the sound from the wedding chamber, and fear had sealed them in as thoroughly as any lock. Only the old monk from the roadside temple opened his door. "Come in," the monk said calmly, as though he had been expecting this visit. Seok-jin collapsed on the floor. He could barely speak. "My wife," he gasped. "She is not your wife," the monk said, pouring tea with steady hands. "She never was. Sit. There is time to explain, but not much." The monk told him what he knew of the Jineui, the centipede spirit, an ancient creature, older than the dynasty, older than Buddhism's arrival on the peninsula. It fed on the life force of men, preferring those of scholarly virtue, whose energy was brightest. It wore a beautiful face to draw them close. It had done this many times before. "Why did it choose me?" Seok-jin asked. "Because you were kind," the monk said. "You saved it from the snake. It remembered your warmth. In its way, it was grateful, and then it was hungry. Can it be stopped?" The monk was quiet for a long moment. "There is one way," he said. Chapter 6. The Rooster and the Fire. In the oldest texts, it was written that the centipede spirit feared two things above all others: the crow of a rooster at first dawn, and fire made from pine resin, the same pine tree where it had first taken its human form. Seok-jin knew the tree. He had found her beneath it. He had to go back. He will not remember, later, how he convinced himself to do it. Perhaps it was the scholar in him, the one who needed to understand. Perhaps it was something simpler. Shame. He had brought this thing into his family's home. He had to end it. He borrowed the monk's lantern, a length of rope, and a rooster from the temple yard. A young bird, loud and indignant. He climbed back up the mountain in the hour before dawn, when the darkness is at its thickest and the mind plays its worst tricks. He found the pine tree. He gathered its fallen bark, its dry, resin-soaked branches. He built a fire at its roots, whispering prayers he barely remembered from childhood. And then he waited. She found him, of course. She came down the path in her white dress, moving impossibly smoothly. He could see the legs beneath the hem now. All those legs, working in perfect, terrible silence. Her face was expressionless. Her dark eyes caught the firelight. "You came back," she said. "I came to end this," he said. His voice broke once, only once. "You cannot," she said. "You are kind, Seok-jin. You cannot burn something you have loved." She stepped closer. The fire crackled between them. "I did not love you," he said quietly. "I loved the woman I thought you were. She never existed." He threw the first bundle of resin-soaked bark into the fire. The flame turned green. The creature screamed, not with Chonyo's voice, but with its own. A sound like 1,000 dry legs on stone, high and shattering, and absolutely inhuman. And then the rooster crowed. Chapter 7. What remained? The sun came up over the Jineui mountains, orange and indifferent, the way the sun always comes up after terrible nights. The white dress lay empty at the base of the pine tree. The fire had burned down to pale ash. The rooster sat in the grass beside Seok-jin, looking profoundly bored. There was nothing else. Seok-jin sat on the cold ground for a long time. He thought about the moment in the clearing, her voice saying, "You saved me," and how even now, knowing what she was, he could not entirely regret pulling the branch from the ground. He thought about what the monk had said, "Because you were kind." He returned to the village. He told no one what had happened, not in full. He said only that his wife had been a demon in disguise, as his friends had warned, and that she was gone. In the Joseon dynasty, this was not, in fact, an unusual thing to have to say. He never married again. He became, in time, a well-regarded scholar and a quiet man. On autumn evenings, when the mist crept up from the valleys, he kept every lamp burning full and bright. He kept a rooster in the yard. And when young men came to him, speaking of beautiful women met on mountain roads, he would set down his brush and look at them very carefully. Was she cold to the touch? He would ask. And if the young man hesitated, if there was even a flicker of recognition in his eyes, Seok-jin would rise and close the book and say, "Then sit down and listen closely. Because I have told this story before, and I will tell it again as many times as it takes. The Centipede Bride is gone, but the mountains are still there, and the mist still rises. And somewhere out there, in some clearing, a snake is still moving through the long grass, and a woman in white is still falling, and a kind young man is still running toward the sound.